Hello, my name is Perio. This is my channel, of course, Perio333, and I am here to do another Google Hangout on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon in Las Vegas, Nevada. Nevada, that's how I like for you to say it, Nevada. And today, this will be simply, this will be a simple, or this will simply be a hangout about running, the act of running, the sport of running, or whatever. So today, this morning, earlier today, at about 5 a.m., I went out for a run and ended up running 10 miles today. I ended up running 10. Um, and it during my run, and this always happens during my run, um, I often do a lot of it's a cognitive process, or I get very cognitive during the process of running. However you put it, I feel like it's very meditative. I feel like a lot of things get figured out when I'm doing my morning run. A lot of things get dealt with. A lot of things are figured out. Um, it's usually, and I'm usually very cerebral. So I just wanted to stop in today, talk about this a little bit, chop it up about running. So I've said many times before that about 2019 now. So in 2013, I challenged myself to walk 1 mile a day. August 31st, I was to start September 1st. I was going to walk 1 mile a day for 90 days. And that turned into what I now do 6 years later, which are like long distance runs, marathons. Marathons being the longest distance. I mean, I've done several marathons. So I went from walking 1 mile to now competing several times per year in marathons, half marathons, 5Ks, 10Ks, everything in between. And had I not started walking for 90 days, 1 mile, this would have this would have never occurred. But even more than that, I have a way to measure how picking up the habit of running has affected my life, and it's all been positive. It's been a very positive experience for me. And I I think I feel I feel like it's an overall thing in the running community altogether. I think it's an overall thing in the running community altogether, because there are benefits that I have been able to gain as a result of just getting out and running. Um, and I think that's the mentality in the community at large. I mean, when I say community, I mean the running community at large. Um, because, like I said, running is it's a meditative process. Like that's one benefit. That's one benefit that a person gains from running. You begin to clear headspace. You get a clear, it's an opportunity to clear your mind. And I even read one time before in the past that the more a person runs, like if you become an avid runner and it becomes a part of your daily activity or just a regular way that you would get your exercise, it increases the gray matter in your brain, which is based on what I read, which is because I'm not a doctor, um, which is the part of your brain that controls the cognitive process, the part of your brain that is in charge of having you think correctly or critical thinking skills. It clears up your your mind to think more or properly or however it will be put. Um, I'm paraphrasing what I read, obviously, but that is one solid benefit from that a person gains from running. And I think for me, it's probably the most it's the biggest benefit for me or the most important benefit that I have gained from running. I believe that. And I've gained, I mean, there's other benefits, of course, but I'm gonna park on this one. I'm gonna unpack this one a little bit right now in this moment. Um, I know that when I started walking on September 1st, 2013, I know that I was in a different place mentally. Now, I did set out at that time to start tightening up some different areas in my life. That was the point. The point was to start tightening up certain areas in my life. And I was beginning to think differently back then. I was beginning to think differently. I was starting to think more about my health. Um, I was starting to think more about getting into shape. I feel like at that time, I had began to get out of shape. I hadn't done anything for a while, for many years, back in 2013. Prior to 2013, it had been quite some time since I had did anything to to contribute to being in shape, to contribute to my fitness, or to contribute to my overall health. I mean, I was a vegetarian, and I felt like at that point I had been a vegetarian for several years. And when I became a vegetarian in the years before then, I felt like that was something that was contributing to my health. But over time, I was a vegetarian who simply just did not eat meat. I mean, everything else was on the table. I just didn't eat meat. I mean, I ate everything else I wanted to eat. I just didn't eat meat. And that, by the time 2013 came about, that wasn't working out for me. And the way that I wanted it to in the beginning when I started my whole vegetarian thing, it wasn't it no longer worked for me. It wasn't contributing. Yeah, it wasn't contributing to my health like I wanted it to, like I planned for it to in the beginning when I first started, when I first became a vegetarian, which was by 2013, it was, I don't know, maybe a decade. I had been a vegetarian for many years. And it just had gotten to the point to where the only thing I didn't eat was meat. So now it's 2013 and I'm starting to think differently. I'm starting to just kind of feel like, okay, hold up. I got to pay more attention to my body and, my overall health. I'm getting out of shape. And I had been out of shape before, a lot worse than I was in 2013. In 2013, it wasn't too horrible, but I was beginning to be uncomfortable with what I seen when I looked in the mirror. So I started to think about these things, and so cold turkey. The plan was to change my diet again and to begin to walk that 1 mile a day, hoping that it would spark something. And it did, actually. It did, because I started to run. I was, as time went on, I continued to walk every day. And after the 90 days, I would run a little bit and walk, and then I would run the whole way. I ran a mile and a half, and then 3 miles, and then it turned into, many, many, many miles after that. But I feel like once once I began to run on a regular basis, when I began to run on a regular basis, I did start to think differently. I feel like, and I've said this before, I feel like I became smarter. And I hadn't read this, I hadn't read that the article, or whatever it is I read, that said that piece about the gray matter increasing as a result of running. I had not seen that yet, but I did. I know that I began to look at myself in a different way. I began to look at myself in a I don't know. I just, maybe I associated running and people running, people who ran. Maybe I associated them with being smarter. I mean, I've always felt like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I did feel smarter. I felt more. I felt. I'm gonna go back to how, during these runs, how my mind kind of kind of really gets explorative. It really is an opportunity to clear your head and to think things through, and to approach different problems, different situations in a much more intelligent way. It really, really is, and it was happening even when I was running just 3 miles. I remember at the time I was dating a woman, and she and I had gotten into an argument. The way that people date, get into arguments, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 a.m. And as opposed to entertaining this argument, I remember putting on my shorts, my t-shirt, and back then I ran in the I ran in the same thing all the time. I mean, I would, constantly wash these couple of pairs of shorts, and then I still have like tons of white t-shirts, so I would just throw on a white t-shirt or whatever. And I had a pair of Adidas at the time that I had before I even started running, and I put those on. And 1 a.m., I said, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm going for a run. And she couldn't believe it. Like, she couldn't believe it. It's like, you going out? It's late. Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna go do a quick run or whatever. And that was, I mean, that was a really good way to deal with that situation. Like, it proved to be a good way to just get out and run, and kind of process what just happened in my head, and and to go back to the apartment, my apartment, by the way, and we wasn't living together. She was at my crib, and so it allowed me to blow off some steam, think about the situation, and I remember feeling like, you know what, I'm not going to go back and be argumentative. I could have been. I mean, I could have went back and represented my point and still tried to drive my point home because I felt like I was right. I apologize about the noise in the back. Again, I live downtown, so sometimes it's noise in the back. My bad. And this is live. So uh, I could have went back home, went back to my place and been like, yo, you was wrong, or whatever, whatever. And that we could have picked up where we left off. But as a result of that run, I wasn't going to do that. It didn't make sense to do that. It didn't make sense to go back and be. It didn't make sense. I felt like just going back and take a shower. She would be asleep. She would be asleep. I would give her some sort of cue while she was asleep that I was fine or whatever. Some kind of, I don't know, kiss on the cheek, something to let her know that, you know what, I'm good. And then the next morning we'll talk it out. We'll figure it out. And it was all good. It was over. That really happened. That's something that in that instance, going for that run really solved the problem, and it really altered my approach to different problems moving forward. So I began to deal with things in a much more intelligent way as a result of running. I really, really did. And moving right along, I mean, even after then, uh, it's 2013, and December of 2013, I got a job. I got a new job at that point. The job that I have right now, I got it in December of 2013, and I remember because the job that I had before I got this new job, the company was about to close. The company was about to close. They were going to close down in January of 2014. And they told us in October of 2013 that was going to happen. So they gave us a couple months of heads up and told us the exact date, January 14th. January 14th of 2014, we're going to be closed. Everybody get a little severance or whatever. And it's been nice. I mean, now we could have moved. We had the option to move out to Miami, Florida. And I could have did that because I had some connections down there or whatever. I know some people. I could have did that, but I didn't want to move at that time. So that was really not an option for that reason, because I didn't want it to be. And I started to look for a job. I started to look for a job very seriously in October when they passed that information to us. And I remember being very, very frustrated with the job closing and me having to look for another job. Because at that time, I was doing really well. I was doing fine with the job that I had, and I didn't want to work anywhere else. I wanted to stay at that job or whatever. And on top of that, I didn't like looking for a job. I don't now even. I mean, that's not my. I I just don't like looking for. I just don't like looking for a job, especially the way you had to look for a job then, or or how we used to look for jobs. Like you used to have to go out and fill out applications and dress up and people rejecting you time and time again. And obviously you don't always get rejected, but a lot of the time looking for a job, it comes with rejection. A lot of rejection. I mean, you get lucky sometimes and things work out differently, and it happens to everyone. I mean, we all have good luck in that area, and sometimes it just works out like it works out. That's fine. But typically, you look for a job, you have to go through a bunch of no's to get to a yes. And I didn't like that part of it. I didn't like that. And I ended up doing it though. I did it, and I still stuck with I still stuck with my running. I was on now. I was doing my walking, and I was doing all that. Nothing was going to stop me from doing that. And I remember while I'm out one day in December. We're in December now. We started in September. We're in December now, so I'm doing a little bit of running now. I'm doing like 3 miles, 4 miles. I've been at this thing for about 3 or 4 months, and I remember being on a run. I was on Paradise Road here in Vegas, going toward Flamingo, which is south. So I was going south on Paradise, and I remember exactly where I was when I had this epiphany. And it was okay. Listen, you have got to put yourself in a position to where this can't keep happening. Because back in 2008, the same thing happened because the economy went to shit. I mean, companies were closing all over the place. People losing their jobs. It was crazy. It was nuts. And at that time, I had 2 jobs, so I was able to lean on my second job because my first job, my main job, closed in 2008, and this was my second time going through that. So I'm thinking to myself, you gotta, you know what, you gotta put yourself in a different situation. Now, I thought about that on the run, and I hadn't looked at it that way. Now, could that be coincidence? Yeah, it could be. Could be that I would have thought about that anyway, regardless of running or not running. Could be. But in this particular case, I um, I thought about it while I was running. It came to me as a result of it came to me as a result of me running that particular day. I was thinking, and I said, okay, what do I need to do to put myself in a position to for this not to continue to happen? And now it's on the brain. Now it's on my mind. And then I get this job. Okay. I didn't get the job. I got a call because uh, they called me and asked me to come in for an interview. And I was like, okay, yeah, of course. I go in, ended up going on 4 interviews, but I ended up getting the job or whatever. So fast forward, fast forward to after I got the job, December 20th, 2013, and I'm still kind of mentally building, like I'm constantly building now because I'm running more, and I got this time on my hands, and I really feel like I'm expanding mentally. Like the expansion is on. I am expanding mentally. That's a fact. and it comes to me. Um, you got to do something to make to even feel like you are contributing to this future that you don't have yet, right? Because I had begun to run and cleaning up my diet, so I felt like I was contributing to my health and fitness. I was doing something. I wasn't doing a lot at the time, but I really cleaned up my diet real heavy and went plant based. Basically, I went plant based. I cut out cheese. I cut out dairy. I cut out eggs. I cut out everything except for plants. That was a pretty radical move at that time for me. And what I wanted to do was just clean, just be clean in terms of what I ate, and not put any suspect things in my body. I mean, you hear different things about dairy, you hear different things about cheese. I mean, and cheese was very difficult to stop eating, but I did stop. And like some people say it's good for you, some people say it's bad, some people say milk is, where you get calcium from, and then other people say, well, the only milk is for baby calves. It's not for human beings. It's all kind of different stuff out there. And I'm like, so I'm cutting all of it off. I'm going to eat plants and plants only. And that's what I did. And I was running, and I was contributing to my health and fitness. Well, I needed to contribute to my future in terms of professionally. I didn't want to end up in a situation where I didn't have any power. Like I had to take a job that I may not want to take or whatever. So it came to me to go back to school. Go back to school. And I'm not sure if I would have came up with that same I'm not sure if I would have did that had I not been, out running and really thinking about these things and really, really putting some real effort into making, creating, crafting my life a certain way. Like I feel like running is hugely responsible for me deciding to craft my life in a certain way. So, and at this point, I've cleaned up my diet. I've begun to run. I've gotten a new job. I've decided that I'm going to go back to school. This is all happening, and it happened after. It happened after I began to run, and I made running a priority and a habit in my life. It happened after, and I was able to see these things through, because as you become more and more of an avid runner, you become more and more of a disciplined person. That's another benefit. That's one more benefit to running, the act of running, or to becoming a runner, or making running a habit, is it creates extreme discipline. Runners in general, in the entire community of runners, everyone has discipline. I will say that. I'm speaking for everybody now. Because if you think about it, most people that run as a hobby, as a way to stay fit, they're not getting paid. You don't get any money. A matter of fact, you spend a lot of money. You spend money on shoes, clothes, gadgets. Once you get there. And then running races, traveling to run races. It's just it takes, you spend money, so you're not getting money, and it's up to you. It's up to you to wake up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning to hit the pavement while everybody else is asleep, and You know, that takes extreme discipline. Most people that are not runners can't even relate to that. Most people are not gonna go to bed early on a Saturday night to get up and run early on a Sunday morning, or Friday night to get up and run early on a Saturday morning. Most people are going to enjoy the weekend or whatever, enjoy whatever, sleeping in even, as opposed to making sure you go to bed, get home, get home in time to wind down and to go to bed so that you can get up early enough to get 5, 10, 15, 20 miles in. I mean, who does that? Someone who has a lot of discipline. That's who does that. That's another benefit of making running a habit, or becoming an avid runner, is the discipline that a person gains is really incredible. And it's across the board. It's across the board. I go to a marathon somewhere, I don't know, San Francisco or New York or whatever, Seattle, and I have conversations with people, thousands. I don't have conversations with thousands of people, but there's thousands and thousands of people there. I mean, literally 25,000 people. At these races in these cities, unbelievable the amount of people that shows up to run. And these people came out of their pockets. They have paid. Not only have they paid financially, they have paid with blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, waking up 4 or 5, even 6 o'clock is late for a runner even. I mean, waking up at crazy times in the morning to get the miles in. And I talk to people at these expos and at these different events that go on during the weekend of a marathon, of a run. And you hear the same things from people. We all have the same stories of, just, well, I only got 6 miles in today. They say I only got 6 miles in. Listen, the average person can't get 0.6 miles in, because running is like, it's like a beautiful, it's like suffering, but you suffer so beautifully. It's a beautiful struggle, running is. And it takes discipline to get to a point to where you can say, well, I only did 6 miles today. It takes serious discipline to get to that point. And that's a benefit. That's a huge benefit, because that discipline, it starts to bleed out in other areas of your life. It starts to bleed out in other areas of your life. If you can become disciplined enough to complete 26.2, you are unlocking something inside of you that makes you feel, it creates a certain confidence in you where you can really do anything. There's nothing you can't do. That's how it feels. You unlock that level of confidence in yourself, because it takes time to prepare for your first one. Let's say it's your first one, and you're going to run your first marathon, and you're giving a real effort to prepare yourself and be ready so that you can cross the finish line. Okay? You start out running 5 miles, maybe 3 miles, depends on what level you're at or whatever. And then you work your way up to running 20, 22 miles, 23 miles before the actual run. I mean, it takes getting up and doing it over and over and over and over again, and increasing in small increments and getting better and better and closer each and every workout, each and every training session. And that's really the process for everything. That's the process for everything. There's nothing that you won't encounter there's no goal, there's nothing that you try to achieve that won't take you a period of time to prepare for and to accomplish. It takes small steps over a large period of time to accomplish something worthwhile. You can't do anything really fast. And preparing for a marathon is a really good way to instill that in yourself. And if you do it over, if you do multiple runs, then it definitely becomes something that is instilled in you. You understand the process. Like you begin to love the process. Not just the process for preparing for a marathon, but I mean the process that it takes to prepare for anything. You begin to love it. You understand it, and you can tell the future almost. You can see the future. You can say, "Hey, I know once I do this, and this, I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna be fine." Because you've done it. You've done it. My first marathon took me 5 months to prepare, and at that point, I had been running for 3 years already. So you know, I could have maybe did it in a shorter period of time than that because I mean I was already running. I had already ran half marathon, but I didn't know. So I went about it as if I was a novice, which maybe I was. I don't know. I don't know. No, but I wasn't. I mean, I was 3 years in, so I wasn't a novice anymore. But I went at it like I was. 5 months. 5 months. I started in June, and the run I was going to do was in November. Sorry, July. And the run I was going to do, I was going to do it in November. Took me 5 months to train, and getting up every day, working, like figuring out how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna work around my work schedule. I was already in school at the time. How I'm gonna have to, work around my school schedule and study time and figuring things out, figuring it out, and really managing my time well. So many benefits came from running becoming a thing for me. I feel like it made me smarter. I feel like it made me more intelligent. It definitely made my approach a more intelligent approach. Definitely. Definitely. It helped me with time management. It helped me watch what I put into my body because I felt like I was putting a lot of work in. I was putting in a lot of work. I was putting in a lot of work. And I didn't want to so like how you wake up in the morning and let's say I wake up in the morning and I may have a cup of coffee when I wake up. All black, a little bit of raw sugar. That's how I take my coffee. But let's say I wake up in a little bit of a rush and I brush my teeth. Well, if I brush my teeth, I'm not drinking coffee for a while. Because I don't want to like brush my teeth and then go right behind it and drink some coffee and feel like I messed up my teeth. So the reason why I say that, I use that as an analogy to say when I started running and running and start seeing like the differences in my body and start feeling like, with the way that I was eating, it was creating more energy for me. I would watch what I eat because I didn't want to like mess that up. I didn't want that to be the coffee to my after me brushing my teeth. I didn't want that same effect. Like why would I take so much time to run and to study and to read and all that, and then eat this processed food and like possibly mess up the work that I had put in. I felt like it would be messing up. I feel like it would be messing up like what I had worked for. So I was like being very careful, and I still am very careful about what I eat because I don't want to mess up all the work that I done put into my body. Right? I started thinking like that, all as a result of the run. Getting up in the mornings and running. Getting up in the mornings and like not wanting to have. I mean, there was no way that I would drink a soda or like a fruit punch or something like that. Like I'm like, yo, if I drink a red fruit punch, which in the past was one of my favorite things, like I'm like, yo, is it staining my insides? My insides are real clean. Like I just want some water. That's it. Just give me some water. I don't need fruit punch. I'm a grown man. Fruit punch is for kids anyway, right? I don't need that. Cookies, shit like that. Like that's stuff for children. I'm an adult. This is how I begin to feel. So I feel like it really catapulted my life, my mental, the way that I think, my processes, and understanding my processes and understanding what it takes to get from one point to another point. Like I became more intelligent as a result of picking up running as a habit, as a way to be fit. And at this point, I take it very seriously, very seriously. And I take that time that I have to myself very seriously. That's not bad. I take that time that I have to myself very seriously. I take that time that I have to myself very seriously. And that's something that I've gained as a result of the run. So I do think that it's been such a beneficial investment that I made uh, back then. Such a beneficial activity that has paid dividends as a result of me taking it up as a thing. It has been incredibly beneficial, incredibly um, life changing. It absolutely changed my life. So Hang tight one moment. Oh, fuck. Fuck is that? I'm back. Yeah, so it definitely has had a major impact on me, major impact on my life. Um, I I cannot I can't say it enough. I can't I I'm not a doctor. I've never done a study. I've read that, but I absolutely do I absolutely do believe that. Now, just a few moments ago, I had a phone call come in. My phone is uh, connected to my computer, so my computer comes on, and it knocks a video I had paused. It knocks it on, and I'm not sure if that came through on the Hangout or not, but that's what that was. So I had to go back and find the Hangout. It was I thought it was going to be a disaster. Turns out it's all good. But anyway, um, not only is does it make you more intelligent, it also creates a certain level of discipline. It creates a certain level of discipline uh, in a person's life, and it only makes sense. It only makes sense that it does. It's a chain. It's a snowball effect in a good way. And and because I remember that day, I remember that day. I remember um, September 1st, 2013. And then fast forward to today, how I have stuck with it. I am, you know, definitely a runner, consider myself a runner. I'm a marathoner, as a matter of fact. Like I've ran and completed many marathons. Um, because things are so different now than they were then, I think it's safe to say that for me, one of the benefits for me is that it created a shift in my life, a major shift. I began to think it created a major shift. It changed, yeah, it changed my life. Literally changed my life. Changed my life. I live a different life because of my love of running. My life is not the same. It's not what it was. And it changed it for the better. Now again, I was fine on a average type scale. I was fine. I mean, I had a good job and I was making good money based on the amount of money I was making and the amount of time that I put in. It was fine. But things are much better now because of the mentality change, because of gaining so much discipline, because of going back to school, putting myself in a different position professionally. I mean, those are major events. Those are well, those are major things and events. Those are major things and events that that has happened to me personally as a result of of my love my love to run. And again, it created a shift, and it also allowed me to look at it like that. Like I look at it like when I challenge myself, as a result of me challenging myself, 2013, to walk 1 mile a day for 90 days. At the time, that was a huge thing. I hadn't, it was a big deal. I learned through doing that, by doing that, that when I challenge myself, it creates shifts. There's a possible shift that will be created. And through running and through going through that process, I have learned how to execute these challenges that I create for myself. I just did a 100-day personal fitness challenge where the goal was for me to incorporate a little more physical activity in my training so that I can be even better, or be an even better athlete. Because I mean, I'm so into the endurance sports now. I have a very, very ambitious event scheduled for 2020, and I'm going to need not only the cardio that I put in, but I am also going to need the physical working out, the weightlifting, the push-ups, the setups, the fitness center, the gyms. I'm going to need all that. So I just did that. I completed it last Sunday. This is 1 week since the completion of my 100-day personal fitness challenge. It was completed on Father's Day. Happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers. But I completed that 7 days ago, and I've not stopped. I'm at 107 now. The challenge was for 100 days, so it's no longer a challenge. But my reason for doing the challenge was to incorporate the physical activity. I know I need both. I need the cardio, I need the physical activity, and I am following through on that, on making that a daily habit. I mean, I'm literally, you know, I'm looking to do something every day for as long as I can. I mean, I don't want to. It will be pointless to go through the 100 days and then to start relaxing after I did it, just because the challenge is over. So I feel like again, me challenging myself, it's working again. It's working again because I want to make it a part of my lifestyle. And I'm 7 days out. I'm at 107 days now, and it has, effectively became a part of my lifestyle. I get up and I get right at it every morning, 7 days a week, and that's what I need. That's why I created that challenge for myself. So I needed to do. So all and again, all of this is as a result of running. Not to mention, I mean, the obvious things like heart health, and just being physically active, just moving your body. It's absolutely beneficial to maintain a healthy weight. Cardio is the best way. It is the best way to maintain a healthy weight. Couple that with eating properly, and you will be on fire. It's no questions about it. I mean, those are also additional benefits. And we live in a world where, man, the overweight and obesity is at a rampant. It's rampant right now. It's crazy. If I'm not mistaken, 75% of the population either overweight or obese. 1/3 of the world's population. 1/3 of the world's population. Not just America. 1/3 of the world. 1 out of 3 people in the world are either overweight or obese. 50% of the United States right now diagnosed or pre-diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is lifestyle choices. I mean, we should be doing everything we can to feel better and to look better. You feel better about yourself. Running is foolproof way to maintain a healthy weight so that you can avoid being a part of a spreading epidemic, being a victim of a spreading epidemic of obesity and being overweight and cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. All these things are really, really happening. And running is beneficial in that way as well. You wouldn't have to worry about it because you will be doing something. You will be doing something about it. So it's another benefit, is what I'm saying. That is yet another benefit. That is yet another benefit. You know, and things like for example, I was up this morning at about 5. I got out. And on my run, I must have ran past 9, 10 people, maybe more, because I live in Vegas and a lot of tourists, they get up and they run too. I mean, it's not just the people in my community, it's people that's from other places. They run. I mean, yesterday, the police department, like the police academy, they was all out running, chanting, ooh, 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 saying whatever they say, whatever, what's up? Hey, what's up? How you doing? Da, da, da. You get an opportunity to like people in the running community, we are like serial wavers. Hi, how are you? You may not even say anything, but you may get the head nod. You may get a peace sign. You may get a fist. Good job, or thumbs up, or something. Like it's good. It's like good interaction in the mornings with other people that's running. People just walking along the sidewalk. Hi. You get that, and that matters. That matters. That contributes to a good day. People say hi to you. Runners always say hi. Unless you like really zoned out, you may be really zoned out. You may be really got something on your mind as a runner. So maybe you don't in that case, but it's in a general sense. People generally say hi to you, as a very welcoming. We're very welcoming in the running community, and that matters, especially in a world today where everybody is bananas about every little thing. It makes a difference to get a hello, to get a hi. I mean, it really does. It really helps get the day started off. That's another benefit. I see that as a benefit. It's a positive thing. It's a positive flow. You're out, you're on your run. You may have tunes in your ear. You may have an audio book or podcast or whatever you're listening to. And 5, 10 times in an hour or 2 hours, you're waving, you're saying hi, you smile. It's all positive things. It's usually positive responses from those people that you run across in the community, in the running community. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And it makes a difference. It matters. It absolutely matters. You get out early, you get 1 mile, you get 10 miles, whatever you do, you get back home and you've already accomplished something in the day, and a pretty major deal. It's pretty major, right? I mean, there's nothing that moves people like production. Everybody wants to be productive. That's when you really feel like you're doing something when you feel productive. Like you like, okay, got the day off to a good start. I got a good run in. You take a shower, you go to work, or whatever you do. However, you follow up your run. Like you just start the day off winning, and you get these small wins. Me personally, I make up my bed. I have a big liter of water. I get out, I go for a run, I take a shower, I cook a breakfast, I don't know, whatever. Like I have small wins, so many before 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Like I'm winning. My day is fantastic. Before I even walk out the door to do anything, I'm already winning. That's another benefit of running. Like you have if you have these small wins all throughout the day, losing becomes like it's no longer an option. You're just not gonna lose. It's hard. It's hard to lose when you win so much. You know what I mean? It's hard to lose when you win so much. So, I'm gonna land this plane right now. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. But I wanted to come on today to just hang out, right? Just to talk about some of the ways that I have benefited, and as far as running, like I have really benefited big time on my journey becoming a marathoner, and it's by far not over. But it's been one it's been one enlightening, educational, empowering journey. And I would normally say whatever that is for you, then you should definitely engage. But I'm gonna say it like this today. You should run. Man, listen, if you can hear the sound of my voice and you do not run, you should absolutely run. You should absolutely run. Pick it up. Make it a habit. You will benefit. I can assure you, you will benefit. Right? You will benefit. Now, this morning, for example, and I'm gonna land this thing. This morning, for example, in a week, like normally week to week, week to week, I have a set goal as to how many miles I want to run. Right now, I'm at 32. Right now, I'm at 32. My goal right now is at 32. 32 miles a week. Not a lot, but not you know a small amount. I mean, that's not bad, right? 32 miles. Um, Depends on what's happening. It could go up to 50. Probably 50, 51, 52 is a max. I'm not gonna do too much more than that, but definitely somewhere between 32 to 52. But this morning, I woke up and I already had ran 32 already today, before today. This week, I was able to get 32 in. So, I thought, hey, well, I could do a 5K right now and be in good shape. I could do 5K and be all set. But I pushed out 10. Now, my point in saying that is you won't always feel like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some mornings where I don't feel like doing it. And that first mile sometimes is a lie. Sometimes the first mile is a lie. Sometimes the first mile will make you feel like you need to go back home, man. Like I'm not like you don't have to do this. But if you can get through that first mile, and I do, I get through the first mile. Normally, what happened today happens. Like I get through that first mile, and I'll end up running 10. I mean, I set out today. Literally, I said, look, I'll run a 5K, 10K tops, 3 to 6 miles. But I got it. I got out. I got in the groove. I even took a different route today. I didn't use my normal routes. I took a route today that I've never taken, and it ended up being 10.1 miles. And I said that to say you develop this again, you unlock so much. You develop this thing to power through. You develop this thing to work through that create them voices in your head. You work through those. Again, it speaks to like that great brain matter. It speaks to a certain level of intelligence. You work through that stuff. You work through it. You power through, and instead of doing a 5K or a 10K, you do 10 miles, right? Instead of doing 3 to 6 miles, you do 10. And it's empowering. It's unbelievably empowering. It's crazy. So again, another benefit. It's another benefit. There's so many, but we're gonna land it right here, man. We're gonna land it right here. I wanted to get on here and chop it up about that. Perio, my name Perio, my channel Perio333. Restore, reinvent, reintroduce, and definitely the way that I restore order in my life, the way I restored it, the way that I even, was able to develop my tagline, develop my motto, restore, reinvent, reintroduce, is because I restore order in my life by beginning to run and by beginning to really watch my food and what I put in my body, and running allowed me to start restoring order from the time I wake up. I started with the time I wake up. As soon as I wake up, what do? I show gratitude to God by getting on my hands and knees and thanking God for allowing me to be a part of the day. I woke up. I get to participate in today. I get to be a part of this day today. Thank you so much. I started with that to restore order in my life. I started from the very beginning of my day. And that's what I mean when I say restore order in your life. Reinvent yourself and reintroduce yourself to the world. That's absolutely what I did. And the way that I did that, a huge part of the way that I did that was my love for running and picking up a habit and falling in love with running. Essentially, I fell in love with running, and it changed my life. I restored order. I reinvented myself, and I reintroduced myself to the world. Perio333 out.